Welcome back into another episode of the Dapt on Draft podcast. This week we did it a little differently. We hit a mock draft first to give us a little extra time to catch up on some tape, but we're ready to roll now here through this week 12 slate, going over some of the bigger games and giving out some helmet stickers this week. James, you ready to roll?
I'm ready. I'm going to be extra informed for this episode because I've had a day and a half to film study instead of the normal one day. So it'll be good.
Love it. I love it. I love it. It helps to have had two bigger games on a Friday night too, to give us
Yep.
a little extra day to knock those out. Those two games were obviously Oregon and Minnesota and Louisville, Clemson, loaded with draft prospects and both those games, I guess, from Oregon, Clemson, and the one Louisville player perspective. But starting with Oregon and Minnesota here, about as perfect of a Dante Moore game as you could have hoped for from a team. If you're rooting for a team that is in desperate need of a quarterback. Pretty clean game there from Mr. Moore himself.
Yeah, he has had his best games might stack up. Like, I think his best games might be the best games of this entire quarterback class, or at least the top of the quarterback class. I feel like when he has an elite performance, it's basically like 10 out of 10 no notes.
Yep.
Which is kind of what the other day was outside of a miss or two.
Yeah. I mean, he could have hit Sadiq more in stride on that wheel route where Sadiq could have walked into the end zone, and there was he missed Jamari Johnson on one as well, like a corner route as well. That could have been another chunk play, but 306 yards on this day, and the ball hit the turf 3 times for Dante Moore. So a pretty good day at the office. They're mixing in a lot more QB run stuff too, and he's way more mobile than he was presenting to be against like Penn State or some earlier season games.
Yeah, well. I agree. Here's a question: how would you rank Ty Simpson, Mendoza, and Dante Moore, just in terms of like their scrambling ability?
Yeah, Moore 1, Simpson 2, Mendoza 3.
Yeah.
Simpson can scoot a little bit too.
Simpson surprises me with his speed. Mendoza I like on like a read option. Like when he builds up speed, I think he's just as fast as those guys, but
his escapability is not quite theirs.
Yeah.
As much though. Yeah.
Feet are kind of in quicksand when he has to get going.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Other performers from this game, dude. I don't know if I texted you about him, but I tweeted out a clip of him on Twitter. But Jamari Johnson, the tight end 2 for Oregon, he's a true junior, Louisville transfer. He tore his ACL last year for Louisville after having some pretty decent games with them. But he started last week against Iowa because Sadiq was out, and he performed. And now DK Moore is out for Oregon, so they're running a lot more 12 personnel out there and splitting Sadiq out like as a pseudo wide receiver for them to kind of fill that void. And he's producing again as well. Again, that one of Dante Moore's misses was to him on a corner route. He catches that ball. He's like at 5 for 75 yards or something like that in this game. So I don't think he's going to declare because he's going to have a chance to be the top dog at Oregon next year, with Sadiq definitely going to declare. So, but he's really surprised me as well.
Is that number 9?
It is number 9.
Okay, because I always see him and think it's Sadiq making a good play, and then I realize it's not. So like I've seen him make a lot of good plays. I just have they haven't really registered because he's not on my radar. But be a good name for next year.
For sure. Do you want to gush on Pregnon a little bit more here? Talk anything about trench play? Anything on the defensive side of the ball here that stood out to you?
I actually didn't study the Oregon trench play that much. I flipped through Dante Moore's dropbacks, but wasn't really focused on the offensive line.
So they flipped the guards. Pregnon played right guard, and 74 played left guard this game.
Interesting.
Which I thought was really bizarre. I don't know if I've ever seen that happen before, where they just flip the guards.
Yeah, I mean, I see teams like obviously switch up their offensive line with an injury, but that's weird to just flip sides like that.
Yeah, unless 74 is not their typical right guard, which I'm almost positive he is. Their typical right guard.
Luti? I think
so.
Yeah, that's the guy that they normally have, I think.
Let me look this up real fast. Because I was thrown off because Pregnon played right guard the whole game. So it was interesting stuff. I thought he played well. I thought Lalulu played well again as well. Isaiah whirled a bit up and down as well, as per usual there, typically as well. But yeah, that's about it. Anthony Smith had a couple nice reps on Alex Harkey, the right tackle, but didn't really do anything when he had to face off against like Isaiah Whirled or Pregnon or Yeah, 74 is their normal right guard. Yeah,
What do
they
you
flipped them.
What do you think about Anthony Smith? We've talked about him actually. I always watch him when I hear that he's had a good game, and it just never moves me.
He's got some decent power in his hands and a decent like speed to power profile, but that's really it. Like it doesn't move me very much. Doesn't move me very much. I mean, if you go watch the Ohio State game too against Austin Searveld, like Searveld looks like a first round pick in that game on that tape. So,
I still need to watch
um,
Searveld.
yeah, he's a redshirt sophomore. I was told today that he's in a holding pattern. Like, still hasn't had that conversation yet about what he wants to do. Obviously, he's a guard at the NFL level, but yeah, he's pretty decent. Pretty decent. All right, Louisville Clemson. I had a hot take that Chris Bell was going to score a touchdown on Avion Terrell this game. And depending on if you would have considered Avion Terrell in coverage, it was more like Avion Terrell had to kind of flip his hips and make a play in zone coverage. Chris Bell fell 1 yard short of that in this game. But Chris Bell finished with 79 yards on the day, almost had a touchdown there at the end. But Louisville kind of folded in this game. Louisville folded in this game down the stretch.
Yeah, it was. Well, it started out rough for my agenda because, like first or second play of the game, Clev Lubin gets a sack on Blake Miller with the push pull hook on the outside arm.
Yeah.
So rough start to the game for Blake Miller, but he really settled in and had a solid game outside of that. I want to shout out Renee Conga, the defensive tackle for Louisville. Lubin had the splash play to begin, but Conga was the consistent presence, and I mean he is a dynamic pass rusher. He puts that consistently on tape. I've checked in on him 4 or 5 times now at this point, so I've been really impressed with everything I've seen from Renee Conga.
You need to sell me on him because every time I feel like I need to like dial in and watch Renee Conga, it feels like I'm pretty underwhelmed from like a tool set perspective.
Really,
So you might have to sell me
I
with
just think the
him off the air.
explosiveness, like to cross
Mm-hmm.
face, I feel like he's a tier ahead most defensive tackles in that area.
Fascinating. Yeah, from a Clemson perspective, I thought Blake Miller outside of that first drive sack played pretty well. Again, I've never viewed him as a massive like people mover in the run game, and this game didn't move the needle for me in that regard either. Um, I don't really have anything else from a Clemson perspective either. I thought Peter Woods had a really awesome like stack shed in the first
Yeah,
quarter, and then after
and
that, it
missed
was
the
just
and he
he
missed the
missed the
tackle.
tackle.
I
Yeah,
was gonna, as I was seeing that rep, I was literally gonna tweet it, but then he missed
and
the
then he missed the
tackle,
tackle.
and I'm like, all right, well, people are just gonna say, but he missed the tackle. Why are you showing this? So
Right. Yeah.
can't have nice things. But actually, I do have one thing to
Yeah.
talk about here. My first helmet sticker is gonna be T.J. Parker, Clemson edge rusher. Definitely not a my guy, at least at this point. I mean, heading into the year, I was kind of like a TJ Parker centrist, I guess. But production and I think motor and just overall effectiveness has fallen off a cliff this year, and I think that has kind of coincided with not getting super easy tackle matchups that you can kind of pad your stats
Mm-hmm.
with. But checked into this game, and man, this looked like last year TJ Parker. This is, I think, outside of the UNC tape, which is like not even, ACC level offensive
Yeah.
line. Like this, I think this is the best that he's looked all year. I actually looked up the right tackle who he was beating, and he's like a 7th-year senior with a ton of experience and like decent grades. So it's not a replacement level guy. And the encouraging thing about this game for DJ Parker is like when you watch him throughout this season, he's going to get like, 3, 4, maybe 5 wins a game. And probably like 3 or 4 of them are just going to be with a long arm right down the chest. And then there will be one where he like starts with power and then transitions to speed. This game, he was just leading off with the cross chop, and he got 3 clean wins around the outside track, and then was still able to hit him with power. Also super impactful in the run game. So this is not like a stock up, changing my opinion necessarily on TJ Parker. It'll be really interesting because the way that I view it, like I think he should go back to school, and I think if he can finish the year strong, he's going to get a matchup against South Carolina's offensive line. That'll be great for his confidence.
Mm-hmm.
He can stack some really good performances, and then come back as a senior and try to rebuild his draft stock. That's to me is the ideal scenario, but sometimes, people are just ready to get out of school.
Yeah.
I get it. Like if you go into what you think is going to be your final year, everybody's telling you you're a top 5 pick, and then it's like, oh, you're probably going to fall to the third round. It's like, I get just wanting to go ahead and get on with it, but it'll be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Ohio State, UCLA. Dude, this game was over before it even got started. I don't have a ton from an NFL draft perspective. Carnell Tate's out. Max Clare's done not producing. Everybody that's producing for Ohio State offensively is not draft eligible. So there's not like a ton to discuss in this game.
Everybody on defense played like 25 snaps.
Yeah.
So it's a couple drives.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like we can probably move on to Indiana, Wisconsin. Again, Mendoza had let 4 passes hit the ground, or 2 passes, went 22 of 24 in this game. I did think he took a couple sacks he could have got the ball out on. Like there were a couple pretty bad sacks. Like, dude, you got to get the ball out on that.
Do you think that he's trying to boost his completion percentage?
No,
because I don't think so. But it almost like, because I don't usually think of him as like, I think that he lacks escapability, but I don't think of him as like a hold on to the ball guy and like crumble in the pocket. And it felt like he was doing that a lot in this game, where he's got like wide open sit routes. He's got like, I don't know. It's not, he could afford to do it in this game. So it's not like a criticism really, but
there's a part of me that thinks that he wants to hold on to try to create more explosives on his tape, to where he's just not throwing those sit routes.
Could be.
Yeah.
But it's like, there were some where it's like, they're in the red zone. He's got like open guys in the end zone, it's like, so I think if that is just kind of his actual process, then that is definitely something that needs to improve, especially when you can't just like go 0 to 100 and get out of trouble on a dime.
Right. I would agree with that. Otherwise, I'm kind of looking forward to watching Charlie Becker next year, because ever since Elijah Surratt has gone down, Becker's been producing. He's a 6'4", 200-pound receiver, so he's a big-bodied receiver for them, and he's been kind of doing the same stuff that Surratt does, like just the same kind of skill set. And he's been he had 108 yards in this game, but
he's a lot faster than Surratt, though.
Yeah, for sure.
It's nice having a deep threat at X, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a fun little player, big player. He's a big dude. So defensively for Indiana, I do have a helmet sticker here as well, and I'm gonna give my shout out to D'Angelo Pons. And Pons is a player that I really haven't dove a whole lot into, mainly because I've just assumed like he's a 5'8" corner. He's going back to school no matter what. Like there's no reason for a 5'8" corner to declare for the draft. But he's been a freshman All-American. He's posted really awesome grades his entire career. Like I think there's a chance that maybe he does make the leap. We'll see. Although he came from James Madison to Indiana with Cignetti, so he could definitely run it back for a 4th year out of loyalty to Cignetti for sure. But the dude is twitched up and his eyes are excellent, man. Like his eyes are fantastic. The way he flips his hips and triggers onto the football, triggers downhill is exceptional, and it's instant. His one pass breakup in this game as well, he was sitting in a cover 2 buzz look, and they ran like kind of a little bit of a spacing concept at him. He broke off of one, flipped his hips, broke onto the other one, and knocked the ball away. So it was a beautiful pass broke down. And then he had 2 tackles in this game too, and both of them were exceptional triggers back downhill to blow up a screen. And then I think like an outside run was the other one. But
yeah, he stopped it short of the sticks, forced a 4th and 1.
And at listed 5'9", he's probably, maybe he's 5'9". I don't know. I don't want to sell the listing stuff short there at Indiana, but he's playing exclusively outside. And to the point where like I was texting you off air about like Mikey Sainer still, like this is what he does in Washington. Like he plays outside even though he's 5'8". Like, so I feel like they might be building, like he might be building a similar profile to what Sainer still did, and Sainer still is a 2nd round pick. So Pons is a really good player, dude. A really good player. But the way that he triggers downhill makes me think that some team is going to love him in the nickel, because they can sling him into fits like crazy and not have any sort of liability in terms of run defense. So, but he's going to get my first helmet sticker here as well.
Yeah, for a player with his measurables, like the bar is just so much higher than it is for a 6'1" corner, and I feel like he didn't really pass that bar last year. Like was still a really good college corner, but I wasn't too interested in him as a draft prospect. About midway through this year, it had been like 4 or 5 weeks of just dominant tape from D'Angelo Pons, and I'm like, man, this guy's really turning a corner. I mean, he's so smooth. I don't know if you saw that pass breakup against UCLA on a
Hmm.
stop route where he mirrored it. Teach shape there. So love the shout out. Um, have you noticed? I've got two Indiana defenders that I kind of like that most people don't really talk about. Defensive tackle Tyreek Tucker, number 95, and then
Uh-huh.
Devon Boykin, who's their nickel. Tyreek Tucker is an underclassman, but Boykin is I think 6th year senior. He's got a ton of production and like some high quality reps. He just lacks play strength. But and then Tucker is a super well rounded defensive tackle, can win with power, can win with speed, really sturdy in the run game. I have 4th round grades, or a 4th round grade on Tucker, 5th round grade on Boykin, which is kind of what a lot of Indiana's roster is. But
Right.
I think those are two pretty solid day 3 picks.
There was another guy that stood out to me as well, number 91 for them as well. I haven't even checked in to
Yeah,
see if he's draft eligible
he
or
had a good game. I don't actually know if he's
he's a
draft
redshirt
eligible.
senior. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dominic Ratcliffe. Yeah, he's a redshirt senior. So that's another guy who popped in this game for me too. I was like, I need to kind of maybe pay a little bit once we get to defensive tackles, maybe pay a little bit more attention to him. Like he also kind of fits the mold of like a Shrine guy, maybe like a guy who's going to end up at like the Shrine Bowl
Hmm.
or something like that. So yeah, there's a lot of talent back here, man. We could see a lot of Crimson drafted this year, which is a lot of fun. All right.
Unfortunately or fortunately, probably not Amari Farrell.
Yeah, dude.
He
Did you see the
he's
first drive
missed.
of the game? He got pinballed off the.
Yeah, dude, he's missed like I don't know how many, but like 12 missed tackles over the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's pretty brutal.
That's not great. That's not great. All right, let's move on. Texas A&M, South Carolina, which was by far the wackiest game of the weekend, where South Carolina was up 30-3 at halftime and found a way to blow that in expeditious pace as well. At an expeditious pace to blow a 27-point lead there. So um, Marcel Reed throws for 439 yards. Casey Concepcion goes for 158. What else in this game stood out to you?
Well, Casey Concepcion is like I love him so much, but it's getting frustrating with the drops. The drop rate is above 10%, and it's especially frustrating how many like amazing routes just get ruined because of a drop. Um, so that's something that he's gonna have to clean up, and it's kind of just the one like red flag hanging over his draft profile. But like outside of that, I mean, they could not cover him in this game.
Mm-mm.
Um, yeah, it was. I'm Texas A&M's receiving core is absurd. Like
It is.
they've got a bunch of guys that pass for Casey Conception on the wide angle before I can like zoom in and see their number. Just the way they move, how easily they separate. Um, so yeah, that's a team like if you want to talk about playoffs, college football, playoff contenders. I'm pretty in on Texas A&M, and especially when you talk about what they have up front with their offensive line. As long as they aren't getting penalized for snatch traps,
Yeah, that's bizarre, dude.
it's one of the probably. Would you say the best offensive line in college football?
Across the board, yeah. Yeah, I would. Oklahoma's is pretty good too because it got some like true freshman tackles who are absolute dudes.
Yeah, so
Iowa's got some pretty
Iowa's
strong,
like a run
a pretty
blocking
strong
offensive
core.
line.
Yeah,
I would take if we could sub in Iowa's O line on running downs, Texas A&M's O line on third down. That's what I would do.
yeah.
What do you
Um,
think? We'll talk more about when we get into guards, but Basantis's foot speed, especially when he gets an inside move through the A gap. I think his inside hand is a lot softer than his outside hand, and like his foot speed when he's having to redirect sometimes gets him in trouble. He gave up a few pressures in this game.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll pay attention to that. I'll watch this game because we're talking about guards tomorrow. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll pay attention to that. The only other takeaway from this game is like, yep, I'm like we're fully there with Sellers back to school. Like, there's no shot that I think this guy's declaring. Like, there's no shot that I think this guy's declaring. And we did this conversation a couple weeks ago where, or I was on a different podcast, and he asked me to put a percentage of staying, percentage of going, and percentage of transferring. Um, and I was like, oh, 60% transfer, 15% declare, and the rest stay at South Carolina. I'm like at like 0% stays at South Carolina, 2% declares, and 98% transfers. Like that's where I'm at with Sellers right now. Like I think he's out of Dodge, out of South Carolina, but he's not going to the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line has been unworkable since the Spencer Rattler days. There's
Mm-hmm.
not really a fix in sight, I don't think.
No, but also it's like I do also think that a lot of this is on Sellers' lap too, because like he does not have a pulse of an internal timer right now. Like
Absolutely.
his pacing is
I just
completely
mean like
shattered.
from a one-on-one perspective, like if I'm going in to watch a pass rusher and I see they had a great game against South Carolina,
Oh
it's
yeah, I'm
like,
moving on. I'm not even.
okay,
Yeah,
that's like Western Kentucky to me.
yeah, for sure. Yep. Oklahoma, Alabama. We had the conversation about Ty Simpson last week about like some growing concerns about his ball placement and accuracy, and in my opinion, it was justified this game as well. I mean, he missed a deep dig, probably 10 yards over his receiver's head. In
That's
this
the
one,
worst miss I've ever seen
ever it was
by far
terrible.
from him. From
He
him.
There was also. Did you see the opposite hash throw? It was a whole shot to Ryan Williams along the right sideline. He was thrown from the left hash, and that thing hung up there. And the safety took an abysmal angle, but it should have been picked off if the safety takes a good angle on that ball as
Yeah.
well. Ryan Williams ends up catching it, and they get a huge chunk play on it. But it's like that throw terrified me as well in terms of Ty Simpson. And we've had the conversation as well about the analogy of a guy who runs a 4.45 and every vein is popping out of their body as they strain to run a 4.45, and like a smooth athlete who glides to a 4.45. And I just think that Simpson is such a strained thrower, so like you could see he's probably generating a similar amount of velocity on the football as Dante Moore, but he's putting so much more oomph and strain into getting the ball from point A to point B, where Dante Moore is just such a smooth, fluid thrower of the football. And then like I can't unsee it. Like I've said it all weekend to you. It's like I can't unsee how hard he's training to throw these footballs. So I have a little my red flag is out of the ground with Ty Simpson right now. So it's elevating.
No, I think that's totally valid. I mean, you just watch the rest of his body when he's making throwing like a 15-yard curl. It's a lot more than most
Yeah,
quarterbacks are doing.
yeah. Um, Again, Jeremy Bernard had another nice catch over the middle of the field on a dig. He had a couple of them. I continue to love Jeremy Bernard's body of work of like being that dirty work receiver, and I think it's going to get him drafted in the second round. I don't know if he'll get his name called in the first round unless he tests way better than I think we think he's going to. Um, but yeah, this was a rough Simpson performance, and then Caden Proctor is the one we got to continue to go back to every week because he's still getting mocked first round, and he's still in like the top 20 of people's big boards, like big name big boards coming out. I still continue to think that this guy cannot redirect at all to save his life. That inside shoulder is entirely too soft.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's why I only like put him in a mock draft as a guard.
It's a guard.
Um,
Yeah.
but he would probably be in the like try it out at tackle for a month or
Hmm.
something because it's so much, so important. But um, it's very like Mackay Becton.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. There's nothing else from that Bama defense that stands out to me. I think that defensive line is pretty underwhelming. I did like Deonze Pierre's body of work like the last three games coming into this one, but I thought he even was a little bit invisible in this game against Oklahoma. So I don't know if there's anything to shout out on Bama's defense. Do you have anything from an Oklahoma perspective?
Well, with Yanze Pierre, I really like his potential. I think
Hmm.
as a prospect in next year's class,
Yeah.
his move set is just like so simplistic, and I'm never the type of guy that's like you got to have a bunch of different moves, but he literally only just goes power and then speed.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
the same thing every play, and he's really athletic, so it works. But gotta continue to expand that. Um, yeah, I like his upside a lot. I haven't watched Bama defense from this game, but I did go back and I'm fully caught up on Bama defense. Justin Jefferson, the linebacker,
He dropped a pick. I saw that.
yeah, he so he weighs something crazy. So like he's a day 3 guy if he's in this class, but man, he is fast as hell. He's instinctive. He's a hard hitter. I would be definitely interested in that as a project for sure.
I like it. I like it. Um, Next thing we can touch on is Georgia Texas, but we've talked a lot about on this podcast about how both of those teams are kind of just like destitute for NFL draft talent for once in a blue moon. Like neither of these teams have a guy that I really want to talk about. I don't know if you
Well,
feel the
it
same way.
was yeah, so on Georgia, Georgia defense. It's really Christian
Christian
Miller,
Miller.
Dalen Everett, and C.J. Allen. C.J. Allen played like a handful of snaps in this game. Um, Christian Miller like graded out pretty well.
I thought he was
I
non-exist, a net neutral.
that was one of the PFF industry plant grades there
Yeah.
because yeah, I didn't see what that was about. And then Dalen Everett is just like not a playable NFL corner. Could maybe be I would be potentially interested in him as a safety because he is has some good physicality against the run, but like he gets just outrun in a straight line. As far as Texas defense, there are a couple interesting conversations. First of all, Michael Taffy was
Hmm.
burnt toast in this game. Zachariah Branch burned
Yeah.
him on that one play. Um, it was the definition of a mixed performance for Anthony Hill Jr., where you saw like
The full spectrum of his
right,
profile.
you
Yeah.
saw every concern and like the upside as well. I mean, that interception that he had, dropping into the hook, like that's exactly the kind of awareness and zone coverage that I've wanted to see from him. But then you watch the rest of the tape from this game, and he's just a sitting duck.
Hmm.
So it's like you had one play where you were able to make a play, but I don't think he sees it that quickly in the run game. Ryan had an article on A to Z Sports where he was talking about how the NFL isn't as high on Anthony Hill Jr. and they were talking about how his frame isn't like really as prototypical as everybody talks about it being. Um, Thin lower half, thin ankles.
Yeah.
To me, he's like an early day 3 guy,
Yeah.
late day 2, early day
I
3.
think he's a Sam. Like I think you have to play him at Sam because he's not instinctive and he's kind of stiff. So just like let him blow up edges and or like bash the A gap. Like I literally don't know what else to do with him.
The one last thing I will say is Cole Brevard is pretty solid, and there are so many freaking nose tackles
Yeah, there are.
in this class. Uh, I mean, it's insane. I haven't ever seen a year with this many nose tackles that I would say like have a good chance of being starters.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good nose tackle class for sure. I feel like we can skip Texas Tech UCF because short like okay, we can talk about David Bailey cooking UCF's offensive lineman if we really
Can
wanted
I
to.
highlight
But
one player?
yeah, go for it.
Actually, two players. Cole Wisniewski, the safety for Texas Tech, like day 3 athlete, but he had a really good game. I think he will get drafted because he's really smart and physical. And then a player that I went back and caught up on his tape, and I'm very high on is Lee Hunter. Speaking of nose
Interesting.
tackles, he has
This
really
was a
started.
revenge game too. This was against his old team here.
And so the other thing is like there were all of these athletic UCF defensive linemen that just didn't have good tape. Lee Hunter, I think, is broken out. Malachi Lawrence is
Yeah.
a completely different player. Like he's in my top 100. Um, I think
Oh,
I think he's got.
interesting.
I think he has some of the quickest hands in this edge class. Like I literally have to go frame by frame to chart his moves, and the way he sets them up is just masterful. He has the perfect frame to be a dominant power rusher, but he isn't yet. It just comes in spurts, and so yeah, I mean, if he was winning more consistently with his long arm, like I would have an even higher grade on him. But just in terms of natural traits, I like everything except the lack of bend. I think it's probably average to below average. I think he will be in that like fringe top 100 range.
Yeah, interesting. He's been on my watch list, but I just haven't got to him. It's like it's a UCF edge rusher. Like I'll get to him when I get to him. So that's interesting.
It's fun tape.
Okay. All right. Ole Miss, Florida. Same old here. From a Florida perspective, the offensive linemen that everybody continues to hype up continue to play like day 3 players that they are. Specifically the center and the left tackle. I don't have a big takeaway from this game from watching the tape of Ole Miss and Florida.
Yeah, I actually didn't watch this game, but I was watching someone else, and I went back to some old Florida games, and I was initially with you where I like Najee Harris.
He's cooled on me.
Or wait, what's his last name? It's not
Najee Harris. Yeah, it's Najee
Yeah.
Harris. Yeah.
But didn't care for Jake Slaughter. Didn't care for Austin Barber. But I've seen some pretty bad Harris reps.
He's going back to school. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Notre Dame Pitt. Again, I think we got a helmet sticker here as well, but we got to talk about Jeremiah Love. He's breaking some of the most creative runs, like stacking some of the most creative runs of a running back prospect that I've ever seen. Like some of these runs that he's busting out are like premeditated. Like they look premeditated, but you can't premeditate a run. Like you just can't as a running back. But they all look like he's mapped out in his head about the path that he's taking and how he's going to do it. The spin move where he busted that spin move in the middle of the field, not even along the boundary, in the middle of the field, and then housed it is like, how did you do that?
Yeah, it's insane.
He's insane.
You know,
you got a Malachi Fields helmet sticker here, right?
Yeah. Can I just say that I wish Jeremiah Love's pass pro was a lot better. Like
yeah,
he has some rough reps in pass pro where he gets worked. He could literally never even touch his assignment and still be RB1 in this class. So
yeah,
we're nitpicking here, but I'm gonna give a helmet sticker to Malachi Fields. I'm a little bit higher on Fields probably than consensus, although. Like I've got an early 4th round grade on him. He's a limited player with a limited route tree. He's running goes, posts, and stops.
Yep.
He can do those 3 things at a decent level. When it comes to in-breaking routes, doesn't know how to set them up, doesn't cut them off crisply. He rounds them. So it's a specialized route tree. But I mean, he has caught fire the last 2 weeks. He is 6 for 7 on contested targets over the last 2 games. And in this game against Pittsburgh, I mean, it's not even just the fact that they were contested. It's like some of the craziest catches that you'll ever see in college football.
Yeah.
Like that one-handed catch down the seam basically pins it on his helmet. I think both of them were when the defense jumped off sides. Both of them, the defense jumped off sides. So it's just like, F it, throw it up to Malachi Fields. The second one was an end zone target down the sideline, makes the contested catch. Also had some nice, chain moving first downs. He is he's a good straight line athlete, and I think his deceleration is adequate. I don't think he creates a ton of separation on comebacks, but he cuts it off smoothly enough to be effective, and then does a really good job of boxing out with his frame, extending for the ball. I think he's limited role wise in the NFL, but I do think he will have a role as kind of like a sacrificial X, and got to shout out this performance and kind of like cumulative the last 2 weeks for what he's done.
He is also extremely consuming as a run blocker.
Right. That's what I forgot to mention.
Defensive backs.
He is pummeled somebody in this game on a crack block.
Yeah, the dude doesn't separate, but the dude will wins at the catch point. consistently. He's a fun player. He's a fun player. I had a fifth coming in on him and coming into the season. I think I'm probably still right around there based on what he did in this game. But he had a
I think
really
I
fun
went
game.
6th to 4th. So
Okay, interesting. Yeah,
split
so
the
split the
difference.
difference. All right, let's move on. Let's jump to. Let's talk about Iowa UCF or USC here. I think we can skip over like Miami, NC State, Georgia Tech, Boston College games like that. Iowa, USC here. Mekhi Lemon goes for another 153 yards in this game.
We got to talk about Mekhi Lemon first, because this was a multiple steps above even I think the great performances he already has on his resume. Like, this was a clinic in, number one, attacking the blind spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he ran some posts that I've actually never seen anybody run before. Like, in that exact way, the way that he was weaving in and out of the defender's blind spot in that exaggerated of a way. And then it was also a clinic in tracking the ball through tight windows, securing the catch through contact. I mean, these aren't like, prayers that he kind of just went up for, barely came down with it. These are like, he's got a defender draped over him. The ball is on a point, and it's so precise, and there's such a slim margin for error. Like, and he just plucks it out of the air. The hands are just phenomenal. He's the only receiver in college football this year to have received 4 or more targets in the end zone and have caught all of them.
I love that. He has to be the headliner for the Blitnikoff right now, right? Like, he has to be the front runner for it.
I looked it up, and Jeremiah Smith is a little bit ahead of him
in terms of like betting odds.
Yeah,
interesting. I mean, because Jeremiah Smith is name value, but like Jeremiah Smith is also competing with Tate for targets and stuff like that too, which I guess Lemon is with Lane. But what about from the Iowa offensive line here stood out to you in this game?
Yeah, so Jennings Dunker can't pass block.
Not at all, dude.
Like, every time he gets into an exposed true drop back situation, it's like a coin flip whether he loses.
Yeah. He needs to lose weight and play fullback. That's what needs to happen here. He could be God's fullback, God's strongest shoulder.
He plants people in the run game. I mean, like, he's the alpha of that offensive line in the run game, and then like in pass pro, he's the clear weak link.
Yes.
And Logan Jones, Cade Piper, Bo Stevens are not pass blocking specialists, but like they can hold their own for sure, better than Dunker can.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
And like, I also, it's just the Iowa O-line is inevitable in the run game. And here's the other thing. So my bold take, which was actually not a bold take, and I realized it this weekend, was that Iowa's leading running back would average 5 yards per carry, which, like, especially for college football and for Iowa's O-line, is not a bold take at all. But he ended up averaging 6.0, so I'll count that as a win, I guess.
I love it. I do want to go back to the Miami game because I had a helmet sticker in that game that I forgot to give out. So Miami safety Jacoby Thomas in this game had 2 interceptions, including one that he got knocked out of bounds at the 1 yard line. And I think it was an ego thing that he probably could have scored on it if he didn't try to truck CJ Bailey through the end zone with him. He probably could have scored on it. But I sent you the video, and I posted the video as well. I don't think, and I couldn't tell if he flipped him off or if he did like the come get some motion with his fingers, but like, he picks off CJ Bailey. He's running down the sideline, and he hand gestures at him and then trucks him through the end zone. That has to be one of the more humiliating interceptions I've ever seen from a quarterback standpoint in my entire life. I can't tell if he flips him off or if he's like finger like come get it as he's running into the end zone. But either way, one of the funnier like Easter eggs I've seen on tape in quite a while from Jacoby Thomas. This was one of 2 interceptions he had in this game as well. He had a nice break on another ball as well in this game. But I'm interested where you stand on him. He has a ton of alignment versatility, but the dude misses a ton of tackles and the dude blows a lot of coverages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So I don't know if you're, I don't know if you remember, but I gave him a helmet sticker earlier in the season. I think it was the Florida State game because he had a similar performance where, like, I was just looking at who was productive this week, and let's see, yeah, he had an interception and 2 pass breakups, so like a stat sheet stuffing performance. I checked him out; it was really good, so I gave him a helmet sticker. Um, then today I look and I see he has a 97.9 PFF grade against NC State in Week 12. So I watched that game. It's phenomenal, obviously. And so now I've watched like 2 elite performances, and I'm like, okay, what do I actually think about him? So today I went back and caught up on Miami tape because there were some prospects, Keontae Scott, Akeem Messidor, that I hadn't really been paying attention to that I needed to go back and watch. Um, and yeah, I think it was either a late 6th or early 7th that I gave on Jacoby Thomas because the tackling is so bad.
mhm.
I don't think he's a very good athlete. He loses a lot of angles and, makes a lot of plays in coverage, but a lot of missed assignments as well. So, yeah, it's more of just like a couple fun performances to me.
Yeah. All right, man. I think we each still have one more helmet sticker to give out. There's no other head-to-head game-wise to really break down here, so let's just hit these last helmet stickers and get the heck out of here.
All right, let's do it. My last helmet sticker is going to be Arizona State corner Keith Abney. I was actually going to give him a helmet sticker for his Iowa State performance, but we ended up not doing helmet stickers that week, so I'll get him back for this one. Was a very strange game if you watch it on tape from Abney's perspective because he basically guessed that they were running a slant every single play, and he was correct every single play except for one where they beat him for like a 42-yard gain where they ran a sluggo. But this tape from Abney, he had the game-sealing interception on a quick slant from off coverage, read it perfectly. Had 2 other pass breakups on quick slants from off coverage, where again the eyes on the hips reads it perfectly. The second one, he got there a little bit early, and I think it probably was technically a penalty, but did a good job of shielding his hand from the ref, so the ref couldn't see it. And then also had a great pass breakup in the end zone where he got stacked initially, but read that the receiver was running a comeback, gets into trail technique, plasters that route, immediately turns his head, looks for the ball, breaks it up. Keith Abney has had, I think, his 2 best games of the season are his 2 most recent games, and could always surprise and come back to school. But I think based on the tape, he'll be in this class.
I would think so too. I've also heard from some rumors that he is being courted by a
Right.
blue blood, an SEC blue blood, potentially in the portal. So we'll see how all of that plays out. If he ends up transferring to a bigger school or if he heads to the NFL. Uh, Obviously, we're both Abney fans, have been since the summer, so I love to hear it. My last helmet sticker is going to be to a guy that I've been like monitoring since the beginning of the season because he makes like 1 or 2 really explosive plays a game, and it's just like, but why don't they get this guy the football? Why don't they feature him? Why don't they? And that is going to be LSU wide receiver Xavier Thomas. Early in the season, he caught a touchdown pass on a deep dig that he snapped off unbelievably well and caught it in the end zone. The Vanderbilt game, he houses a screen pass after breaking like 2 tackles and just completely demolishing backside angles. And then in this game, it feels like ever since Brian Kelly got fired, there's been the shift from like I play you because you're my guy and you have seniority to like a shift to I'm going to put the best players on the field and I'm going to let them play. From an LSU coaching perspective, because Xavier Thomas was playing X, Xavier Thomas was playing Z in this game, so like he's still going to have to overcome some of those like gadget stereotypes, some of those like the stigma that comes with being a gadget player, and like, does that actually work in the NFL? He's still gonna have to overcome some of that because some of his bigger plays aren't gadget plays. But in this game, he had 80 yards on I think 5 catches, maybe 6 catches, but he did it at every level of the field. Yes, he caught 2 screens that he probably chunked out 8 to 10 yards a piece on. He cooked up Julian Neal on a comeback on a stop and go comeback where he
And
kind of
it
stuttered,
got
kept going.
called back for a penalty, so that doesn't count for his stats.
Yeah, he cooked up Julian Neal on that. He had a backside over on a boot concept where he is the backside over coming across the middle field that he goes up in the middle of the field through traffic and hauls it in through traffic at that level. And then he has a contested catch vertically down the field as well. So like he's doing some actual receiver things. Yes, he's pretty tiny. He's pretty thin. But he was winning through contact. And I just think he's one of the more easier accelerators in the class, one of the easiest accelerators in the class. Like his 0 to 100 is eye popping, and he's a legitimate burner. So like this is a guy that I would want in my wide receiver room. I think he's a day 3 pick. Like I'm not going to get out on my heels and say like you guys are sleeping on this guy and this guy should be a top 50. No, like I get the body of work says this guy's a day 3 pick, but this is a guy that I would round out my wide receiver room in a heartbeat, and that I think I might be able to develop into like say like a Jalen Naylor type, like a wide receiver 3 type at the NFL level. Like that's kind of what he's putting on tape. If he and through the end of the LSU season here, if they keep letting him play X and he keeps doing some of this stuff from X and from Z, like then yeah, I'm going to get a little bit more bullish. But at the end of the day, too, you're going to get a very dynamic return man just by taking him on day 3 and a guy that rounds out your wide receiver room too. So I really like Xavier Thomas, dude. I really like Xavier Thomas.
Yeah, on that comeback, the way that he was able to gear up at the top of the route and hit that second acceleration to really sell the vertical, it was just so effortless. And then again, effortless deceleration. So I mean, he's got the athletic traits for sure. I haven't seen him that much in these like real receiver positions. Like this was the first game that was like, oh wow, this is like real NFL stuff, you know?
Yes.
So promising development for sure.
That's because LSU has so many of those same dudes who are kind of in the same body type and the same kind of player. Barryon Brown, Xavier Thomas, Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton. They're all these 5'10" to 6 foot dudes. Aaron Anderson's even shorter than that, but like they all have the same skill set. It's like you just threw a bunch of speed on the field and said, I hope this creates explosives.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to talk guards tomorrow. So, James, you got anything else for the people before we get out of here?
That's it.
All right. Well, until next time, this has been another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. See ya.